and all of a sudden it stops, it usually means that a fish has come up behind it. And what happens with
Cover or something like that.
Yeah.
Just three-hole punch a bunch of those, and those little round three-hole punches that come out, use those.
I'll have to try that. Andrew's like, time to go to Staples and buy a three-hole punch.
You know me, I'm all about budget. Go buy a $200 office tool.
All right, the next way that I like to fish stick baits is the neko rig. And if you're like, it's pronounced neko rig, I'm sorry, my friend. It's a Japanese technique, and the Japanese people, they pronounce it neko. So I'm going to call it that because that's the actual way. I'll fight anyone on that. Just like I did with the walleye versus pickerel. But the neko rig, or the Nico rig, however you want to call it, it's basically the same setup as a wacky rig, similar. Now, with a wacky rig, you typically hook it right in the dead center, in the middle. On the neko rig, it's slightly lower. It's cloudy day. Because if there's no sun, why should they be buried underneath the lily pads? They use that for sun protection a lot of the times because it's bright. They can't wear sunglasses, right? So they hide under the lily pads. But if it's a nice cloudy day, sometimes they go outside of the lily pads and they start, looking around for other things, right? Unfortunately, we just blew right on top of this fish and spooked him. Now we're not going to catch him. So make sure you slowly approach spots, slowly, stealthily, make a few casts going up to the spot. You'd be surprised how many fish.
You're a special breed and you're either criminally insane or the coolest person ever, but it's pretty hard to have a middle ground on those, I find.
Yeah, more criminally insane. This is a good one from Dawson. He says, one of the worst fishing habits is right-handed reels. I agree. Yep. If you have to switch your hands when you're casting, you're doing it wrong. That's not efficiency right there. Mm-hmm. Prove me wrong. I used to be a righty guy. I used to swear by it. And it's hard to cast with a lefty, but once you get used to it, it's so much better. I will fight anyone on that. When I see guys fishing right hand and switching their hand to reel in, it makes no sense to me. Like, when I pitch out with my right hand and my bait hits the water and a fish hits it instantly when I'm flipping and pitching, and I can set the hook instantly and have my hand right by the crank right away without having to switch hands, right there alone, that one technique, it's worth it. Yep. But whatever floats your boat, there's no right or wrong. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So he said one of the worst fishing habits is avoiding all adult responsibilities and go fishing. That sounds like something Brian would do, 100%. Yep. This one needs no explanation. Next. Yeah, Brian used to say that. We'd fish a spot, no fish would be biting. He would just be like, next. Just
like rip up the trolling motor and power up the big motor.
Yeah. This is a good one. So Joey says a bad fishing habit is always